Hey guys, it's Joe from SittingDuckPolicy.com. Today I would like to show you the Glock Model 30. Let's take a look. Model 30, chambered in 45 ACP. It's part of their first generation of so-called baby Glocks. Now, Glock came out with full frame pistols. After that, then they had some extended frames and whatnot. Then they came out with the compact models. And the compact models are smaller than full size, but they're a lot larger than what one would consider readily concealable. So to combat that, Glock came out with the baby Glock line, starting with the 9mm and then the 40 caliber, the 10mm, and then this chambered in 45 ACP. Since this gun came out, they have released a second generation called the Glock Model 30 SF, or Slim Frame, which basically slims down the frame a little bit. Now, let me show you some things, but before we get into showing you some specifics about the gun, let's go over firearm safety. First and foremost, consider every firearm to be real and loaded. Treat it as such. Do not point a firearm at anything that you are not intending to kill or destroy, and be aware of what you're pointing at and what is beyond it. So that said, let's take a look, make sure that this firearm is unloaded before we continue. First and foremost, there is no magazine in the magazine well, and no round in the chamber. I'm going to check that visually, and I'm going to stick my finger down in here to check it manually as well, to make sure that this firearm is unloaded. Now, it is definitely unloaded at this point, so we can go ahead and continue. First and foremost, you'll notice that, as Eric Shelton is so keen on saying, looking across the top of this slide is like looking across the deck of an aircraft carrier. It's very wide, it's very long, especially for a subcompact gun. As far as subcompact goes, I've got relatively large hands. You can tell this is still a relatively large gun, but still I've managed to conceal this legally for the past decade plus without a problem. I've had to make a few adjustments to my attire, and of course I've had to have a very, very good supportive holster to be able to do that, but it is a very concealable firearm, especially if you want to carry a 45 caliber weapon. So, like I mentioned, this is the stock gun with some modifications. First and foremost, you'll notice here I have an extended slide release lever. Now, the slide release that comes on factory Glocks is not a slide release lever, it is a slide lock. It doesn't have this little triangular notch on it. Now, that means that that lever is just there to hold the slide back when you're cleaning it, when you want to show that it's unloaded at the range, or when you've exhausted all the rounds in your magazine, it will lock back. With 1911s, this is also a slide release. You can drop that, and the slide will come forward and load around into the chamber, and you'll be ready to go. On stock Glocks, you cannot do that, at least not easily. I wore a blister on my thumb right here trying to do so. So I purchased this. It was about 15 bucks, relatively easy to install, and all it does is it extends that slide lock into a slide release lever. So very easily can do that. Second is I've got this, and I forget the brand name, so forgive me about that, but it is basically a light pipe for my front sight, and you notice how brightly that lights up, especially when you're coming down and doing the sight acquisition. It lights up very well. Most light pipes are very fragile. You'll end up breaking them. This is encased in a resin shell, so it's very, very durable. I still wouldn't want to try breaking it, because ultimately it is still fiber optic glass or plastic in there that's collecting the light and redirecting it through to the dot. There is no tritium at the end of this, so at night I don't have any way to see that any better than it is right now, but it works pretty well even in low light situations. It works every bit as well as the white dot in the front, and in all honesty, if you can't see your sights, your regular sights, in low light conditions, it's probably too dark for you to be acquiring a target anyway. That is where one of these comes into play. That, of course, is a flashlight. Make sure you have a flashlight with you, because we spend 3/4 of our lives on average in dark or low light scenarios. So I've got that in my pocket all the time, just in case. not just for acquiring targets, but for finding those lost car keys underneath the car as well. So let's go into what it comes with. This is a magazine, of course. It's a 10-round magazine, double stacked in 45. And I'm not going to put that in the gun because you can see it is loaded. I have customized this. You can see on the bottom it's got this little finger grip. When you line that up with the bottom of the gun, you see it matches those finger grips very, very well. This is a Pierce grip. They run between $5 and $7. They're a little difficult to install, but no more difficult than swapping out the base plate in one of your factory magazines. And they do just that. You swap out the factory base plate, and you put this on in its place, and there you go. You now don't have to worry about having a mismatched pinky grip, as it were, on the bottom of the gun. Now, next up is an accessory. This is a Glock accessory 9-round magazine. You'll notice that it's a little bit shorter. This does have the accessory Pierce grip on the bottom as well. Normally it's just a flat base plate, so when you are gripping it, your finger is going to go underneath. Now I've found that that's still very controllable when you're shooting. It's not that much of a problem, but it just feels kind of awkward. So by putting that little extension there, you can see that it extends your grip very, very well all the way around and lets your pinky hold on to it. So very nice. Again, $5 to $7. A little difficult to install without the base plate removal tool, but you can do it. I get my stuff through Glockmeister.com, and if you order the magazine as well as the base grip at the same time, he'll install them for you free of charge. So definitely take advantage of that. This is 9 rounds, which means 9 in the magazine, 1 in the chamber for a total of 10 rounds, whereas the stock magazine, the gun comes with 2 of these, or at least mine did, is 10 plus another 1 in the chamber, so you've got a total of 11 rounds. Next, this is from the next model up. This is a 13-round magazine. It is for the subcompact 45. But what I love about Glock is right here is how that magazine gets held inside, and there are no rounds in this magazine, so we're good. Even though this magazine extends down past the bottom of the gun, the locking mechanism is still the same on all of them. In fact, you can look and see here that locking mechanism on the 9 round, the 13 round, the 10 round, they're all the same. This varies on ambidextrous and left-handed firearms, which either have notches on both sides or in the middle or both, but for the most part it's just right over here on the side. Now I have gone and added an accessory to this as well, which is just a filler, which fills in the gap so that you have a full grip down on the bottom. And then I have added a Super 2 extension to the bottom of this. So this is a 13-round magazine plus 2, so I can carry a total of 15 rounds plus 1 in this magazine. And this is a bad boy from Share, who also makes this extension, by the way. This is a Share 2-round extension. This is the Share 27-round magazine for the Glock 45 caliber models, 45 ACP. This is a big honkin' magazine. In fact, I can't even fit all that in frame, can I? I don't have it loaded up all the way because I ran out of rounds. This is what I call my home defense magazine, because if somebody breaks into my house, once I've properly acquired that target and identified it, hopefully I don't have to reload. Hopefully I don't have to squeeze off a single round, but if I do, I don't want to be stuck reloading anywhere. So this is really good. It also is quite heavy, so this would work very well as a striking implement if you had to as well. Kind of a novelty to have. It comes in more handy at the range than anything else because, let's face it, you don't want to spend a lot of time reloading ammunition, and when you're reloading 9 or 10 at a time, that can get kind of tiresome and tedious. But when you've got 27 rounds ready to go, you're fabulous. So, really quick, that is the Glock Model 30 calibered in